Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel, which was recently, about 30 minutes ago, denied monetization, which I was expecting like 1,000 other reasons, like potential spy, very sketchy, suspicious, sometimes overly gay, but not like intentionally gay, but also he pretends to be straight and then makes friends with a lot of straight guys. Anyways, I don't know what I was expecting exactly the reason for denial. I did expect maybe I would be denied, but the YouTube comes back and be like, "Yeah, we denied you because they allege I have reused content." Are they saying I re-uploaded my own videos, which I may have done, but I definitely have never, ever taken content from any other channel. I have talked about other people's channels. I have promoted other people's, not promoted. I've just like give commentary, which I see a lot of people do. I see lots of people give commentary on other people's channels. For example, Candace Owens, right? I see lots of YouTubers give their opinions on the whole French president's wife being a man thing. I mean, the French president's wife being a man? That is just so shocking. So I gave my opinion on the Candace Owens stuff, etc. I did not upload any content from Candace Owens. I literally commented on her videos, but I never uploaded her videos, nothing like that. So who are what are these YouTubers people smoking? These YouTube executives. What are they smoking when they come back and they try to say they're denying me because I've reused content? Okay. Really? Is there another gay Canadian guy from Canada who speaks fluent Russian and talks about the FSB, talks about espionage, talks about politics and science scandals? Is there another gay Canadian guy from Canada who talks about espionage? And has a whole channel called the Planet Saturn Club, where it's about people who are obsessed with science, obsessed with mathematics, basically not a cult, but like a club of people who worship planet Saturn. A club of people who are tired of these rich celebrities, rich politicians like Britney Spears and Donald Trump controlling the world with their money when we can have our own group of science. It's like taking science nerds and making them tough again. Make science people tough. Make us strong. Make science mathematics people strong. We could have our own, not gang, but group. Okay, not cult, but group of people who stand up to these bullies. So I can't believe that YouTube would deny me when, first off, I didn't even want to apply in the first place because I was invited to apply. Because what happened was my YouTube channel just suddenly got really popular. My live streams got really popular. Some of my videos, but more mainly the live streams got really popular. Suddenly got really popular. I got a lot of subscribers suddenly over the last month. And then now suddenly YouTube, by the way, I've had this channel for a year, but it just suddenly got popular about 1 or 2 months ago. So then YouTube invited me to apply for monetization, which I thought I would never even get it. And I'm like, I got my hopes up. Oh, wow. And maybe, wow, I applied for monetization and then they denied me, saying I have allegedly reused content. So, of course, they're offering me a chance to appeal, which I can still do. I have 14 days. They just denied me about 20 minutes ago. But I was like, the first logical thing that I can do is go on YouTube and bitch about this to everyone. That you. Okay, now I'm kind of seeing why maybe they didn't want to provide me monetization. But basically, no, I am not afraid to say anything. I'm not afraid to talk about anything. Now, I don't really care. I don't need the money because I do work at a bookstore and I make all right income. I work part-time at a bookstore and I get money, so I don't need the money per se. But it's more offensive to me that YouTube would come back and be like alleging something so wrong, so untrue, which is would be unused content. Like that's like they know how to push people's buttons. It's like imagine a Russian channel being like not Russian enough. Be like, I grew up in Moscow. I work for the Kremlin. Not Russian enough. Like, YouTube knows what to say to push people's buttons. My channel reused content. I'm like a gay guy from Canada who talks about science and mathematics and espionage. talks about James Bond 007, talks about science, mathematics, espionage, a gay guy from Canada who studied Russian language for years and speaks fluent Russian. Is there another gay Canadian guy from Canada who studied Russian for years, speaks fluent Russian, talks about science, espionage, talks about political scandals, talks crap about American politicians because I'm from Canada and that's what Canadians do. We talk crap about Americans behind their backs. Is there another Canadian that does this that they're alleging I'm getting reused content from? Explain to me why there's like 5,000 Russian YouTube teachers. Are you a Russian woman who speaks Russian, who wants to teach Russian and get money for teaching Russian? Oh, 5,000 Russian language teachers approved, approved, approved. And literally these Russian language teachers, if anyone's reusing content, like they're literally like if you want to learn how to say pожалуйста and privet from like 30 different Russian teachers, well, yeah, there's like 30 at least 30. There's probably like 30,000 of them. Like I haven't counted them, but I could just name like 50 Russian women, female teachers off the top of my head, and Russian guys who teach Russian. So clearly, the YouTube must be run by the Russians because explain to me how all of these Russian language teachers, they're all getting monetized, they're getting thousands of views. Literally, I see one Russian teacher be like, learn how to say privet and pожалуйста, and learn how to say hello and thank you in Russian. And I saw like 50 other Russian YouTube monetized people say do the exact same type of videos, and they're all getting monetized. But me, a gay guy from Canada who studied Russian for years, who speaks fluent Russian because I studied Russian, I talk about espionage. I talk about the Central Intelligence Agency, the CIA. I talk about the FSB, the Federalная служба безопасности, the Federal Security Service of Russia. And they're trying to say that my content is, are they trying to say it's unoriginal or something when they say reused content? What do they mean by reused content? Are they saying that I had uploaded my own videos twice? Are they saying that I reused my own content twice, like I re-uploaded my own videos a few times? Like, what are they getting at there? They better not be saying that I friggin' like I copied someone. Who the hell could I have copied? Like, let's find this person because maybe this person is my soulmate. Like, is there another gay guy from Canada who speaks fluent Russian, who studied the Russian language for years, who talks about the Central Intelligence Agency, who talks about the FSB? Like, is there another YouTube channel that does this that they're alleging I'm getting reused content from? This is total BS. This is ridiculous. The Russians or whoever runs YouTube, probably the Russians, they're cheap and they don't want to pay. So then why invite me in the first place? Why get my hopes up? Maybe, oh, okay, it's like an automated system thing. When a YouTube channel is very popular suddenly and they get enough views and they meet the threshold, then YouTube automatically invites everyone to apply. Still, even if it was the YouTube AI that automatically invited me to apply and the Russians really just didn't want to give me monetization, it hurts because they got my hopes up. Okay? So, and then to turn around and say reused content, that's like that's like telling a French chef he can't cook. That's like that's like telling a supermodel in France that she's not thin enough. Like, are you out of your mind? Reused content. I have never ever. I've done commentary on other people's videos sometimes, but it's clearly a commentary video which YouTube encourages and allows. And then YouTube was even saying, "Oh, well, we totally allow it if it's commentary. All my videos are commentary." Trust me, no one would copy what I say. Everything I say is totally original, trust me. So, who are these YouTube executives? Like 50,000 Russian women with big boobs who teach Russian approved for monetization. One gay guy from Canada who studied Russian for years, who speaks Russian, who talks about the CIA, the Central Intelligence Agency, who talks about the FSB, denied. So they gave me the option to appeal, which I have like 14 days to appeal. I just like found out 20 minutes ago I was denied. And I was like ticked off that they would even say suggest reused content as if I copied someone. Like, who is this person that they're alleging I copied? Because maybe they're my soulmate. because they just happen to also be a gay guy from Canada who studied Russian for years, who speak talks about the CIA, who talks about the FSB, who talks about political scandals, who talks about Donald Trump, who talks about Stormy Daniels, who talks about Obama and how good looking Obama and talks about Obama and talks about other political presidents who may or may not be good looking, you know. No, I didn't really think Obama was that good looking. I just thought like he's president, right? You know, I think if Obama, if I saw him on the street and he wasn't president, I probably wouldn't think he's that good looking. But the fact that he's president, just, you know, such a powerful, strong man, you know. So, but no, I'm more like, JD Vance kind of like has a funny looking face. He kind of looks like a dwarf. I don't know how to explain it. Trump is like pure ugly. Like Trump is, anyways. Um, Joe Biden is. I mean, even when Joe Biden was a bit younger, like in his 40s, he kind of still looked a bit scary. He looked like a vampire or something. He looked kind of scary. He didn't look, especially after I found out he came from like the Jim Crow era with the racism and everything. Or he, well, not saying he came from racism. I'm saying he came from an era which apparently was very racist. So, yeah. So basically, YouTube, like, anyways, I've been discriminated against before. I've been discriminated against. People have stolen my content, and what that really irritated me because constantly people have stolen my content. It's not the other way around. So for YouTube to come back and allege reused content, no, YouTube, you're the ones taking reused content. You're the ones actually, uh, my channel is successful bringing in views with an interesting point of view, and now YouTube is trying to take credit for it and say that I have reused content. I am the original. Trust me, there is no other gay guy from Canada who studied Russian for years, who speaks fluent Russian, who studied the FSB, who may or not have worked for the Kremlin, who may or not have like worked with Putin, Vladimir Putin, who may or may not have gotten with, anyways, you know what I mean? Who may or may not work for the FSB, who work for the Kremlin. There's no other YouTube streamer that does this. So, anyways, uh, I'm not gonna say F you YouTube, but well, I guess I just did. I don't really care because you know YouTube. I was on YouTube last few years ago, and I had extremely original content, and then YouTube had totally banned my channel, and I would never expect to ever have a channel again. And then suddenly I heard that YouTube changed the ownership and management or something. They became less Nazis. They went from German Nazis to like Russian communists, and apparently Russian communists are slightly better than German Nazis. So I went back on YouTube, and then sure enough, it was slightly better. And then YouTube, they just rip people off, and then you work hard and you make these great videos and you bring in views, and then they insult you by accusing you of stuff you definitely didn't do. That they're the ones who did. If anyone reuses content, it's YouTube. I see a lot of these big time YouTube streamers who reuse content. Totally. And their commentary videos are not like mine. Their commentary videos are very like, oh, look how pretty Candace Owens is. Like, and that's like the whole video. Like, no, my video is like, yeah, Candace Owens is pretty, but hey, Candace Owens, you're accusing the French president's wife of being a man, which she does look like a man. But hey, Candace Owens, you look like a man too. Did anyone tell you that if Candace Owens goes around accusing the French president's wife of being a man, which she is a man, she does look a man, but Candace Owens, now men are all paranoid. We're paranoid that all women could be men, right? And we have to look at all women. And Candace Owens, you look like a man too. I don't know. Anyways, maybe Candace Owens had a part of playing in me getting denied the monetization. But anyways, it's not a big deal. Well, it is kind of, I mean, I've experienced discrimination my whole life, and I'm just tired of it. Like there's been so much stuff, so much creative things I have done, so much great efforts I've made that they were copied and stolen by, and I'm seeing a recurring theme here because a lot of times it's been Russians who copied my content, stole my ideas, tried to claim it as their own, and then accused me of stealing it from them, which is not true. I speak English better than all of these Russians. When all those years when the Americans were accusing the Russians of meddling in American elections, You think the Russians can meddle in American elections? I'm from Canada. I speak much better English than the Russians. Watch this. No, no, no. Well, Canada, we do meddle in American elections too, but it's only because, first off, we have the right to, because as long as it is making it's good for Canada, Canada has very simple, very relaxed laws when it comes to espionage and stuff. And I looked up this. I looked this up. I looked this up. So apparently, in Canada, you're allowed to do espionage, just for real, as long as it benefits Canada. Because there was a case with Jeffrey DeLisle, who was accused of espionage. He was accused of leaking Canadian naval secrets to Mother Russia. And I was really interested in the case, and I looked at the news articles, and I looked at the law regarding espionage in Canada, because I'm like, oh shit, they're gonna find out I've been working for China this whole time. No, I'm just joking. I don't work for China anymore. Anyways, so I looked up the laws for espionage, because how are they going to put this guy away for espionage for 20 years? They were going to give Jeffrey DeLisle, a French-Canadian spy, 20 years for working for Mother Russia. So I looked this up, and apparently they have a couple criteria, but the main criteria is if it's good for Canada or if it hurts Canada, right? So I mean, they give Canada is pretty liberal with freedom in terms of espionage as long as it's good for Canada. Now, I have always done things that are good for Canada. In fact, when I've been trying to encourage the Americans to take over Canada, to make Canada the 51st state, that would be great for Canada. It would be totally great for Canada if the United States overthrew the Canadian government and made Canada the 51st state. That would be amazing for Canada. That would be wonders for Canada. So I'm partly joking, but actually it's partly true. But that was Trump's idea. Like Trump's idea was to take over Canada and make Canada the 51st state. Now, me, a gay Canadian, I have a different strategy. Am I gonna go and rush to the border like a Canadian patriot and be like, F you Americans, we will not let you take us over? Or will I rush to the border and be like, oh my God, Americans, you gotta save us. We got like evil stuff up in Canada. There's like transvestite school teachers up here in Canada. There's like it's anti-gun. They're the most anti-gun people. They'll take your American guns away if they could. The communist Canadians. It's really cold. I know you can't do nothing about the weather. There's blackface politicians like blackface Justin Trudeau, right? So obviously, you know, one could make the argument that everything that I've done was great for Canada, right? Because the United States taking over Canada and making Canada the 51st state, that could be really good for Canada. It could also be really bad for Canada, especially if the Americans decide to just think that Canadians are expendable, if you know what I mean. But aside from that, which is a really small risk, okay, maybe it's about a 50% chance. Aside from that, the United States making Canada the 51st state could actually be great for Canada. So I don't know what this whole thing is. Anyways, I don't know. The YouTube coming in here saying I have reused content? No. Unless they're trying to say that I uploaded my own videos several times, which if they're actually alleging that, that's ridiculous. Because first off, I may have uploaded my own videos several times, but they're my content. It's not reused content. If they're trying to say it's reused content in the sense that it's my own videos that were re-uploaded, but first off, they're denying me based on me uploading my own videos several times. That's BS. People constantly upload their own videos several times. If it's their own video, they have the right to re-upload it as many times as they want. So if that's what YouTube is suggesting when they say reused content, see, they were very vague. YouTube was very vague when they said reused content. Are they referring to me uploading my own videos several times, like re-uploading my own videos? Or are they referring to me like uploading other people's content, which is so not true? And anything I do is commentary, which YouTube encourages, allows. Like if I'm talking about Candace Owens, I would not upload one of Candace Owens' videos. I do my own video where I discuss Candace Owens and the fact that she could also be a man. Heck, if the French president's wife could be a man, Candace Owens could be a man too. So, yeah, YouTube, basically, if you're a Russian teacher with big boobs, and you can get monetized like that. Do you speak Russian? Are you a Russian woman with big boobs? Do you want to teach Russian language to horny American men? If you are a beautiful Russian woman with big boobs and you want to teach Russian language to horny American straight men, to horny American straight men. If you're a beautiful Russian woman with big boobs and you want to teach Russian language to horny straight American men, then you will get monetized on YouTube like that. YouTube will monetize your Russian teacher account right away. Do you want to learn how to say privet and пожалуйста, privet and как дела? Privet means hello, как дела means how are you, пожалуйста means please. You want to learn from you want to learn from 50 different Russian language teachers with big boobs how to use, well, they don't all have big boobs, but anyways, you want to learn from, okay, I'm a homosexual. I just like, listen, it's not bad when I'm saying Russian women have big boobs. They do, a lot of them, okay? They're very beautiful, they're very attractive. I'm very jealous of Russian women because they can get straight guys like that. Well, I'm not looking for straight guys, but you know what I mean? Anyways, so Russian women, if they're like a Russian language teacher on YouTube, they're promoted, they're giving monetization. But me, a gay Canadian guy from Canada who talks about espionage, talks about science and mathematics, who talks about science scandals and political scandals, suddenly for them to come back YouTube and deny me monetization and be very vague and say something as simple as reused content, which I have never, like my content is so original. Like this is totally really ridiculous. Is there another gay guy from Canada who studied the Russian language for years, who speaks Russian, who watched a lot of Putin's speeches, who has an infatuation with Vladimir Putin? Because Putin, he's got his own army. That's pretty sexy for a man to have his own army. Like he's like got. Sorry, scratch that last part I just said. Anyways, is there another gay guy from Canada who like speaks fluent Russian, talks about espionage, talks about science, talks about scandals, talks about political scandals like the French president's wife being a man? Is there any other YouTuber that does this kind of content? Who is this person? Because maybe they're my soulmate. I do not do reused content. I do not upload other people's. Is there some Russian scammer who wants to be like, I'm going to take credit for this Canadian guy's channel? You want to take credit for me? You really? Because if you want to walk in my shoes, then that involves getting what happened to me because I was gay bashed. I was denied jobs. And now you want to come and try to take credit. You want to try to take my channel, or you want to try to take credit for my channel. You know what went into my channel? It was like 30 years of me having to put up with homophobia and abuse from these evil Canadians. So how dare you? How dare you say that in any way that I could potentially be reusing content? No, unless you're saying that I uploaded my own videos several times, which I may have done, but it's my own videos that I may have re-uploaded. I may have reused my own content, but I've never reused anybody else's content. That is a total lie. It was very vague what they said when YouTube denied me monetization. I think what I suspect is YouTube, they're cheap. They want people working for free, like slave labor. They want to send me to like a Russian gulag. Okay, if this were Mother Russia right now and I was in Russia, the Russians are so cheap, they would like send me to a Russian gulag of YouTube streamer gulag, Russian YouTube streamer gulag. That's funny. No, that's not funny, actually. That's kind of sad. But anyways, there would be like a whole prison camp full of Russian YouTuber gulag, be like a YouTube streamer gulag where these YouTube streamers have to work for free for Mother Russia in a gulag, a Russian prison, a Russian gulag. So, like this is totally ridiculous. Like if you're a Russian teacher with big boobs and you want to teach Russian, oh, you'll get approved for monetization right away. 5,000 Russian language teachers get approved right away. But if you're a gay guy from Canada who studied Russian for several years, speaks Russian, talks about espionage, talks about science, talks about mathematics, talks about planet Saturn and how cool planet Saturn is, suddenly for them to suggest that my channel in any way could be reused content, that is totally a lie. That's total BS. That is total BS. Anyways, so I'm not afraid to go there. I'm not afraid, and that's why people have been coming to my channel. That's why people like my channel, because I'm not afraid to call out YouTube on their BS. I'm not afraid to call out the YouTube monetization BS, corruption, how they only give monetization to their popular people, right? like the Russian women with big boobs, or the blonde women, or like the blonde Canadian women with big boobs. Because there's a lot of blonde Canadian women that just because they got big boobs, they got free drinks at the bar, they get out of speeding tickets, they get to sleep with any straight guy they want to sleep with, they get like to sleep with these beautiful Canadian hockey players who are like, they're Canadian hockey players, like, you know what I mean? So it's like not fair. It's like a big popularity contest. So I'm not afraid. That's why people come to my channel. They like my channel because they like the fact that I'm not afraid to call out people on their BS. I'll call out Putin. I'll call out Vladimir Putin on his BS, you know. Maybe like, for 2 weeks, Putin is like bombing some innocent country. And then the next thing you know, I'm in Putin's office and he's serving everyone coffee. And Putin goes to serve me decaf coffee. Be like, Putin, why are you serving me decaf? Is there something wrong with you? You think I drink decaf coffee? Right? No, no, obviously, of course, I would be more upset that Putin was bombing innocent countries. But of course, serving me decaf coffee would also be very bad because I do not drink decaf. You could probably tell by the way I'm talking, I drink full. Anyways, so I know I was partly joking, but anyways, seriously, this is BS. I have been discriminated my whole life from, from people. I have a truly original channel. Okay, like trust me, no one would want to steal my content or copy my content. Okay, and I definitely would never steal. Like, this is so absurd. Like, I was one of the first, not the first, but I was one of the first. First off, okay, a lot of people think Candace Owens looks like a dude. A lot of people think Candace Owens looks like a guy. I did as well for many years. I would never say it publicly until recently. And the reason why I recently said it publicly was because Candace Owens threw out the accusation at the French president's wife. And I'm like, well, Jesus, Candace Owens, you're going to throw out the accusation at the French president's wife, accusing the French president's wife of being a man. I think it's fair game to come back at Candace Owens and be like, well, you kind of look like a man too. And it's not even a knock to Candace Owens. She just does. She does kind of look like a man a little bit. And it's not a knock to Candace Owens, really, because it's like we're just paranoid. Men are now paranoid. Like, thank you, Candace Owens, for exposing the fact that the French president's wife's a man. But don't you realize now all men are going to be super paranoid about this? Like, you're going to be looking at all. If the French president's wife could be a man, every woman could be a man. We got to look at every woman now. We got to look at all the women to be like, what if they're men, right? Except Martha Stewart. Martha Stewart could never be a guy. Martha Stewart is like the most feminine woman in like ever. Like she teaches cooking and she does cleaning and gardening, cooking, cleaning. She is like the traditional woman, like times 1,000. Okay. Martha Stewart could never be. If I found out Martha Stewart was a guy, I would be crushed. Like I would be heartbroken. Okay, because if I'm gonna go for women, I want real women. I don't want a man dressed up like a woman. That's like creepy and weird. Creepy and weird, a man dressed up like a woman. No, if I'm gonna go by, first off, I'm a homosexual man. But if I am gonna go for a woman, I'm gonna go for a real woman. A woman who's like beautiful and like cooks and cleans and like is a traditional woman. I mean traditional in the sense that, okay, I don't want her to be like a 1950s housewife. That's not what I'm looking for at all. Especially the 1950s housewife, what they would do to me, a homosexual guy from Canada. But anyways, I don't want her to be a 1950s housewife. What I'm saying is, I love cooking. I love cleaning. I love gardening. These are things that I love to do. So if a woman shares my passion, which is what I like to do as well, then that's how I would reconnect with a woman. I'm not one of those feminist, I'm not one of those misogynist men that thinks that a woman's place is in the kitchen, right? Although she does well in the kitchen. I wasn't. No, I'm not one of those misogynist men that thinks a woman's place is in the kitchen or in the home, or she has to be a homemaker, she has to be a gardener. But I like doing those things. I like cooking. I like gardening. I like watching gardening shows. I like watching cooking shows. I like creative. I like how creative Martha Stewart is, how wonderful she is. She makes the home better. And she is a businesswoman. She is a hard worker. She's not really a homemaker. Like, she's not only a homemaker, she's also a hardworking woman. So you could say she's the best of both worlds, honestly. She's not just some homemaker. She's also a successful businesswoman. So, anyways. So I'm not afraid to go there, YouTube. I don't care. I don't care. I'll call you out on your monetization policies and crap like that. I'm not afraid. I don't care. Okay? Screw your monetization. Keep your money. Cause I do it for the views. I do it because I have a sincere point of view. I have a sincere, fresh point of view that no one else has been. Okay, okay, hold on a sec. I do not reuse people's content. I do not. Okay. Obviously, I'm not the only person who talks about science on YouTube. That's not what I'm saying. See, this is very vague when they say reused content. Like, what are they saying? First off, I do not reuse content. Obviously, I'm not the only person that talks about science on YouTube, but I'm definitely one of the only people who talks about, and I think the only person, because I haven't seen any other people who talks about science and espionage, who talks about science spies, mathematical spies, political spies, talks about espionage, science, technology spies. I haven't seen any other YouTube streamer who talks about science and espionage. I haven't seen other YouTube streamer that is obsessed with planet Saturn like I am. Because it's true, planet Saturn is such a beautiful planet with those special rings. Planet Saturn is very special. So I haven't seen any other streamer. So who are they saying that I get this reused content? See, okay, YouTube was very vague. They're very vague when they came back at me saying the accusation that they're denying my channel for monetization because of alleged reused content. I do not reuse people's content. Like I said, are they saying that I re-uploaded my own videos, which I may have done, but they're my own videos and they're my own content. So this is total BS. This is ridiculous. YouTube, like you guys need to get your whatever. You Russians, I do kind of feel like the Russians own YouTube a bit. So anyways.